time. I am absolutely pumped up and I'm passionate about Afro hair. It's wonderful legacy, it's wonderful heritage, it's wonderful history in your tress. And until we own our own hair entirely, that is ensuring that the well-being of the hair is maintained using sustainable products to maintain our hair, we wouldn't have to rely on other people's hair type, if you like, to mitigate that problem. And so the natural movement to me is indeed a no-brainer. It simply means that we will own our industry and perhaps we will own our own hair. It doesn't matter what the style, whether it's locked, whether it's pinked, whether it's a twist out. I think that may be the solution that we've been looking for. That may be the answer to the problem.
And also,
if I may add to that, brother, the consumer is far more informed, and I can't see why we did it 3,000, 5,000 years ago. We made wigs and weaves from our own hair. Our ancestors did that from our own hair. And so, as Brother Rudy just said, it's a market opportunity for our young people moving forward. We could make our own wigs and weaves from our own hair.
Yeah, but my concern is
does realise that the esteem in which you hold yourself is important. But
yeah.
You know.
Thank you for that. We've got a couple of questions I just about to ask. Question in the chat. Why does black hair take a long time to grow? Why does it take a long time to grow?
Have you seen the length of some of the Rastafarians? I've always wondered when people said that, when I've seen some of those guys and hair right down to the ground.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brother Derek's an expert on that one. I'm not gonna
You know, I began by saying that, reciting Revelations 2 verses 9. I know your works, tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. And if I could go back to Keith's explanation with regards to history and heritage and legacy, and at the same time I'll add to Sharon's answer, why does black hair take so long? Now, it depends on the reference point in which you are referring. Obviously, we know that there's trauma in our community. We know that there's lack of representation on our television screens. We know that lots of young black children have been looking at the wrong imageries. So there's a lot of magic, sorcery, and witchcraft being played out on their minds on a daily basis. So now they're looking at somebody else's hair and making the reference that their hair should be like that. Now, Afro hair does grow. It grows quite profusely. But what's interesting, it was the other side that misappropriated our culture in the first place. Now, if you think of hairstyling, style aesthetics, you go back almost 7,000 years. The very first tool that was created to maintain our hair was this. This Afro comb dates back almost 7,000 years. No other tool was around. The famous bob that other nations and other cultures has misappropriated began with black people. It was indeed Africans who created the bob. We know that we've seen the bobs worn in Monroe and Annie Winter and famous people like Mary Quant. They wore the bob. But when we wear the bob, our people still think that we're trying to copy somebody else. Yet the bob was created by our ancestors. If you think of Egypt or Kush, or you think of almost 4,000 years of dynasty with the most marvelous hairstyles, the most amazing hairstyles, and hairdressers were doing works at a time when our neighbors in Europe were practically non-existent. So as Keith said, it's all about education, understanding your culture. We've had a history, a marvelous history. The conditioner that we all see every day in supermarkets and beauty supply stores was created by a black woman. That's Madam C.J. Walker. So it's incumbent upon us, therefore, parents and teachers, to educate our young people and educate ourselves. Because the history of Afro hair is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And afro hair is indeed a wonderful dome that doesn't want to grow down. It grows upwards, as we all say. It defies gravity, it goes to the sky. Why should it grow long? It's trying to go up to worship the Creator. And now, so we should understand, first of all, we should not make any comparisons. In our company, we talk about going about our business, minding our own business. We don't look at other people's hair type, because other people's hair type are looking at us. Right? So we have to start celebrating us and being us, as opposed to making comparisons. Your hair grows. Every hair type and every hair texture is the same. All hair types has three things. A follicle. It has where the hair grows out of the follicle, right? Whether your hair is Caucasian, Asian, or African, it has a follicle. It grows out of the follicle. Every hair strand has a ecosystem below the hair strand. The hair, in this ecosystem, provides nourishment and moisture for the hair to grow. But obviously, we are looking at other people's culture. We are being traumatized by their culture, and we want our hair to be like them. All hair type is the same. Let's focus on our hair.
Brother Dean, you got your hand up. You're on mute.
I'd like to ask another question. How often should Afro hair be washed? How often should we wash our hair?
Washing or shampooing, as we say, is important. It is important to shampoo your hair. Again, as I said, the hair has its own ecosystem. It provides for it all the nutrients it needs. But because we work in an environment where there are lots of pollutants, our hair, we attract dirt and debris to the hair and to the scalp. So it's important to maintain hygiene and shampoo our hair quite frequently. What we must bear in mind, shampoos are very dodgy. If you're not using the correct shampoos, in other words, shampoos that are made with parabens and sulfates and other nefarious chemicals, it can have a profound effect on your hair, and in the long term, it inhibits growth, and invariably it breaks the hair off and makes the hair very, very dry. And that's what I like about the natural movement. The level of education in our communities now is so amazing that the sisters are looking more and more for education and empowerment. Okay, so what's important, if you are going to shampoo your hair frequently, we suggest that you shampoo your hair with a co-wash. Co-washes are shampoos that doesn't lather, but you have to disassociate yourself with shampoos that lather, because what the lather has a dangerous chemical in it that creates the lather. The lather makes you feel good. That feel-good factor is what's causing the problem, because to get that feel-good factor, you have to add sulfates and parabens. And sulfates and parabens can be carcinogenic and invariably will damage your hair. So what we do in our company, we created something called co-wash. What the co-wash does, you can shampoo your hair as many times as possible with a co-wash, because it doesn't lather, it cleanses the hair, it provides moisture, hydration, and nutrient. That's the three fundamental things you need for hair growth. That's why the natural movement is such a wonderful thing, because all the sisters are now doing is moisturizing, hydrating, and creating and providing nutrients to the hair. So shampoos.
So where do you get your products from? I mean, the products behind you, are they your own products?
We manufacture our own products. We created our own products. It is the Derek Clement hair care system. It's a system because since we are moving into a new time, a new era, we recognize that the sisters have suffered in the past. They're now engaging themselves with the natural hair movement. In other words, they've collapsed the trust. The trust was trusting chemicals to somehow mitigate the insecurity that they had before. But today they've shelved that. They've got rid of the relaxers and in many cases the weaves. And so we created a system. The system simply means that there are 3 tiers. It's important to shampoo, it's more important to co-wash, and it's crucially important to condition. Once you've done that, that's one tier. There's another tier. That tier is all about feeding, moisturizing, hydrating, and creating nutrients to the hair. There's a 3rd tier that's important. We got this from our ancestors, our mothers, and our aunts back in the day that used to grease our scalp. We don't say the word grease anymore, we say feed. So we feed your scalp with what we call either hemp which is a marvelous food. It's antibacterial, antifungal, and anti-carcinogenic. That's from Jamaica. That's shea butter and vitamins. It's a beautiful conditioner made by us, for us. It's our product. There's another wonderful food. It's called hair and scalp food. Again, black Jamaican oil base. We believe in using plant-based ingredients simply because it's sustainable. It's from our countries of origin. Our ancestors said to us, we must only use ingredients that's indigenous to us. So we go back to nature, we go back to our countries, Africa, we go to Ghana, we go to Zimbabwe, we go to Nigeria, we go to Jamaica, we go to Grenada, and we find the products to use on our hair for our people. So that's the 3 tiers, and they are absolutely crucial for our hair growth.
Wow. Very informative.
Well, it's important, Sharon, because look, your hair is your beauty. It's the first thing you see.
Yes, definitely.
Our hair is indeed, has gone through decades of all kinds of trauma, all kinds of fear. There's a wonderful term today that, it's not a wonderful term, but it's a term that's been kicking around. It's called afrophobia. That says a lot to me. It means that people are scared of our hair because once we wear our hair, it is seen as rebellious. Think of the 70s when Afro hair was politicized by people like Angela Davis. The hair somehow gives you empowerment. And so that's what's nice about the natural movement. When you see the young girls today, you see this dome. Sometimes it's unkept, but that doesn't mean it's untidy. It's allowed to be itself. And so our hair, we refer to that as Afrodom. It's a wonderful thing when you see natural hair in all its glory. Right? Our aunts and grandmothers used to plait it back in the day. All right, so it's important to ensure that we care for our hair because it's the only thing that gives us that sort of empowerment. I mean, my hair, there's no more hair anymore because, of course, that's age and genetics. But as you can see, my beard makes up for my hair because, and I use my products on my beard. We have a product range for men. It's called K77. It's the same principle. It's about caring, nourishing, moisturizing, and hydrating, looking after yourself. What we're now seeing is it's all about we are awoken. The key thing now is to stay awake. That's what's fundamentally important.
Yeah.
Okay? And what we're now seeing, I think, it's a marvelous day for us. I think I'm absolutely fascinated that, so we shouldn't waste time grinding axes about who they are, what they're doing. It's what we are doing for our community and how we are representing it by being ourselves. I love to see the sisters with the natural hair, and the natural hair movement as a hairdresser is enormous. It's enormous. I mean,
it's amazing.
It's enormous.
Because, it's only about, I think it's about 6 weeks ago, I decided to shave off my hair. I was thinking about it. What should I do? I shave it off. And I feel quite happy with my hair like this, and I get so much compliments with my hair.
It's very striking. You're very
striking.
Sharon, you are.
I get so much compliments, just unbelievable. Even before, because I usually just pat it down. But
let's stop trying to split hairs, trying to work out. Forget about. Look. It's taken you over 20 or 30 years.
Very long time.
So give the sisters an opportunity, give them a chance. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing. I mean, I remember when I was going bald back in the day, I was bald and I still tried really hard to pretend my hair was there and it was bald. And I remember watching myself on TV and I thought to myself, Derek, you're bald. And I said to my barber there and then, I went back to my shop, I had 20 barbers working for me. I said to my barber, just shave the bloody thing off. So give the sister an opportunity, give them a chance. They will get there eventually, okay? And you have to remember, I mean, if you look at the collective at the moment, every other sister wears the hair natural. But it doesn't matter. We talk about the 9 principles of Afro hair. Black women have a fundamental right to celebrate all aspects of Afro hair and the genres, right? Whether it's a bald style, we see that. Whether it's a little kinky afro, whether it's a coily afro, whether it's a twist out, whether it's a weave, or just the wrap. The wrap is also a style. Why not? Why not? We look beautiful anyway, so let's not split hairs. It looks as though they have a beef with sisters and wigs and weaves. as I said to you before, Sharon, we created the wigs and the weave. Why do we think other people wear the wigs and the weave? We've been wearing, the wig that the judge wear, that came out of Egypt, right? And you have to remember, for generations, those British royalty wore wigs and weaves, for generations, because
18th century.
they had issues with their hair. They were bald. They were going bald based on all kinds of dirt and whatever. So give the sisters an opportunity. Some of them will get there eventually, but nothing wrong with a wig or a weave. I think wigs and wigs are quite fascinating. It's an accessory.
Yeah. Again, consumer choice.
People have choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me just check because we're
Just do two more questions, and we could just wrap.
because we're 3 minutes.
Yeah.
No.
While we're doing, okay, let me first say that Afro hair, back to Keith's earlier point about the celebration of the history of Afro hair. We've had some of the greatest giants on the planet who've done hairdressing, from Madam C.J. Walker back, as I keep saying, back from antiquity right up to Pierre Toussaint, who was a famous black man who did hairdressing for kings and queens during slavery. All right, we've had some of the greatest hairdressers up to Winston Isaacs, Carmen England, Cynthia Jarrett. We've had people like Joan Sarms, Cynthia Mitchell in Shepherd's Bush, great name like Jenny Cooper. These are giants of legends of the industry. Enoch Williams in Brixton, Mi Amigos, Mr. Norman in Harsden. Right, and they've been caring for educators for centuries. I mean, so we must celebrate these people, our legends, our pioneers and our veterans.
Yeah, absolutely. So on that positive note, Sharon.
Okay. I think, has anyone got any question before we just end the session? Or everything's been covered?
I could say quickly.
Okay.
What I noticed with hairstyle, it recycle. The style that is here now.
Derek
Yeah, it's all over social media. Every minute. I don't know you got time.
never not.
Yes, Sharon.
Oh, it's fine. Just like to thank our speakers coming on tonight. It was a very informative session, and I hope we gained some knowledge from the speakers tonight, because as Martha Scarver said, up your mighty race. We can accomplish what we will. We can accomplish, and we are accomplished as Afro-Caribbean, and it's about going forward and meeting the needs of our younger generation, because we need to teach the younger generation. Because I'm a school teacher, when I see some children 6 and 5 having wigs and in their hair, I said, Lord, it's not right. Their hair is all tight up, and I said, Lord, no. So it's so important that you go into school and to educate our younger generation, and that they can be proud of who they are, because we're wonderfully and marvelously made by God, and the God that I serve, the God that we serve, we don't make no mistake, and God knows the number, how many hairs we got on our head. That's the God we serve, and God makes us a peculiar people. We stand out. Our hair is so flexible. When I saw this lady, she had a hanger. I'm not showing this woman the hanger. She got so much different style, a tree. I've not even seen the picture, but it's amazing the flexibility of our hair, and God is so good to us. So let's just embrace our hair and do what we will. And this is end with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, we want to thank you for another day, oh God, that you have spent.
I just want to say thanks, guys, for that journey. Definitely inspirational, and it gives us a slightly different perspective, and there's certain things there that I wasn't aware of. So thanks very much again.
Thank you very much, Keith. And as Marcus Garvey said, it's about not unraveling the kinks in your hair, but the kinks in your mind.
Amen.
Amen.
Good night, all.
Thank you. Good night. Pleasant evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
We'll definitely do part 2, Sharon.
Yes.
I'll touch base with you soon, sir.
Yeah, another wonderful Zoom talk with Sharon Foster from South London. So we covered every aspect of Afro hair. It's brilliant, really. We touched on the history, we touched on the business, the economics, and the politics. Has been great. That's what we do. Constantly doing, providing information, advice, and support to the community. Good night.